Conversation pits were an iconic design trend in the 1950s through 70s. They featured a couch that was built into a sunken floor area, and they're a great way to fill up space in large living rooms. Honestly, they're probably my new favorite thing to add to houses in The Sims 4 since the addition of the platform tool, so I'll show you how to make a few different types. Here we are. I have a couple different rooms here with some examples covered up, but the first type I'm going to show you is just the basic like square edge platform tool, and it's really easy. The first thing you'll want to do is just grab a platform and place it wherever you want in the room. And then you'll want to just lower it down a couple. So we'll just go to the sectionals and we'll grab this one. And I like to start with the corners, you know, just marking out the berries. It really doesn't matter. Just go ahead and fill in your couch space. We need to lower it so that way the back of the couch is flush with the floor. You don't have to do this. Honestly, it's totally optional. If you want to leave it just a step down, if that's what you like, go ahead. But I personally like to have it flush. So in order to make this couch flush with the top part of the floor, you just want to make sure it's 3 steps lower than your original thing. And you can see now the top of the couch is flush. One thing to note though, it does depend on which one of the sectional sets that you use. So if you use the textured one like I have here, it will be 3. But if you use the non-textured one, it's a little bit taller. So just make sure it is 4 steps down, and then you can see that is flush. Next thing is you'll just want to grab some stairs. You can use another platform if you want, or a couple. It doesn't really matter, but stairs are just easier, so we're going to go with that. And we'll just go ahead and add those here. You can decorate, you can add in the wooden floor. Personally, I like to go for carpet just because I think it looks more authentic. You can see I just put some ugly ass carpet in here and it gives it a whole new look. I actually really like the look of ugly ass carpet. I think this is probably the only instance where I will ever put carpet in a house because I hate carpet, but in a conversation pit, it just works. The next thing you're going to want to do is probably adjust the platform trim. When it comes to the square edge ones, I just like to go with one that matches the floor. So this brown matches the wood floor. Go ahead and throw a coffee table in there and you have yourself a proper conversation pit. You can decorate, add pillows, add cool lighting. You can even move it next to a window. You can see this smaller style is probably a lot more practical, but they're pretty easy to adjust. The one thing you have to know is when you move them, just like if you move any platform, it's going to delete the wall, and that's really annoying. So it's probably best to plan ahead beforehand, but it's not that hard if it deletes a couple of walls. The next type you can do, which is really easy, is just a 3x3 lounger style. It's not functional, but who really cares about functionality? Because honestly, I just think it looks really cool. And it's like, this is something that I would want to see in a home in real life, you know? Not something you can play with in The Sims. And there's going to be a little bit of clipping, but I think it screenshots really well. If you wanted to make it functional, you can just do a lounger style and just have like loungers at one end. I mean, when you do these corner ones, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky just because things don't line up all the way, and that's where the creativity comes in. You can either do the plain ones or the regular ones, and you just place them down like normal. And then where the creativity comes in is alt placing these ones to line up next to them. You can get a little bit of a clipping issue there, so you can swap it out if you'd like. But then the corner doesn't really work. Sometimes an easier fix is to actually just do the ones without the backing on them. And you can just alt place them like that. Then you have a lounger sectional. Personally, I don't really mind clipping, so we're just gonna go with the cornered ones instead. And after you add the stairs and the corner pieces, it's pretty much done. All you need to do is maybe throw in a coffee table if that's your thing. And now you have this really cool lounger style conversation pit. Honestly, the clipping isn't too bad. You can barely notice it, and I just think it looks really cool. The next type of conversation pit we're going to be making is the rounded conversation pit. This one is really fun, and it looks a little bit difficult at first, but it's a lot easier than you think. I have an example of what that looks like here, and it's just the rounded couches sunken into the ground. And the trick is actually to use an octagonal platform. So you can just grab anyone like this, and you may be thinking, oh, it's like a curved couch, you know, why would you use the octagonal one? But I'll show you what happens if you try to use the circular one. If we grab our circular platform like this, you can see already the footprint is the same octagonal shape. And the worst part is you are going to get that octagonal footprint on the ground. Even if you sink it in, it's actually far worse, especially if you're using a foundation as well. Like if you have this up here and you sink it in, not only are you going to get that gap, but it's like a void that's going through the foundation, and it's really, really annoying. Floor can only, you know, match up on the inside of the curve, not the outside, so just don't worry about the circular. Octagon is your best friend in this case. Grab yourself an octagon and just drop it down. And the important thing about these is to make sure that this is sitting on a 1 tile wide diagonal. You can't do 2. It won't sit flush. You just have to do 1. Let's just say we want a, you know, fairly large size conversation pit. Do the corners, and there we go. Now we can sink it into the floor. We'll do our 3 as usual to make it nice and flush, and you'll notice that there's still a gap where that octagonal footprint is that looks pretty ugly. And the easiest thing to do is to just fill it in with a platform base. You just go to your platform trim right here. I like to use the packed stone platform because it actually fills it in perfectly. It doesn't clip through the chair. You can try other ones. I haven't found any others that work. You can see the bigger trims just go right through the couches and it looks really ugly. And then the thinner trims still leave you with the problem of that gapping. So just use the packed stone platform from the outdoor retreat pack. And it's just easy like that. But now you'll have to do stairs. Something you'll notice about this particular design is that the edges aren't going to touch the stairs like in the rectangular corners, and there's a couple different ways you can fix that. Honestly, I just like to, again, utilize the Move Objects tool and just alt place the couch here. Now again, you're going to get clipping. I really don't mind clipping. I'll say it a million times, but as long as it's not too noticeable, you know, I don't really care. I'm trying to get my point across. I'm trying to kind of theorize what I would have in a house that I would like in real life. I didn't do too good of a job placing it here. You can see it's a lot better in this example. But if you don't like the clipping, which I totally understand because this one's definitely more obnoxious than the last type, you can just delete these and fill it in with a different way. There's a couple different ways, but my favorite is using a coffee table. Or sorry, an end table. You can use, there's a few CC ones that work pretty well, but even if you don't want to use CC, you can use the spa day. These don't align perfectly, but they still fill the space pretty well. But I think the best one is the city living end table, because you can actually even overlap it over your floor, and it looks kind of cool, and like it's an actual, you know, feature. You can just change it to whatever color you like. And there's tons of other options. You just kind of have to play around with it. This is just what I've discovered in building. And then of course you'll want to add your carpet or your floor or whatever you want to use. We'll just go with the pink carpet to match everything. And we'll finish it off with a cute coffee table in the center. Again, I don't know if this is going to be functional. It probably won't be with the coffee table, but I don't care. Because I just think it looks pretty and that's all that matters to me. You can make it functional by making it bigger, by deleting the coffee table, do whatever you want, but I'm just here to make it look pretty. Now, let's say you don't want to do the stairs and that you think it's too much of a hassle to try and alt place things and you want it to be more functional. There's another way you can do it too, and it's really easy. So we'll just delete everything. And I actually have that in this example over here. And you can see that it's just 3 different tiers of platforms, 3 different levels, and I'll show you how to do that. The easiest way is just make a wall right where the edge of your conversation pit is and just draw it across. Keep this wall here or this section at the same height as the rest of your house. You know, you don't want to change this one, so that way you don't have to mess up like your whole house. You know, let's say if we just drop like a door there, if that's the entrance, keep it like that. Raise the one that is on the outside of the conversation pit, the one where the couches sit flush, just raise that up 2 steps. And delete the wall that you just made here. And of course you'll want your conversation pit to sit flush with this level of the flooring, so raise that up too as well. And now you're at the same place. And what you have now is you have one step down to the conversation pit, so you don't have to worry about stairs whatsoever. And then you have 2 steps up here, and you can just grab some stairs. You can do another platform if you wanted to with a different step, that's up to you. I just like the stairs, it takes up less space, but again, every house is going to be different and might call for something else. And then of course you're going to have these really ugly corners. Again, this is where coffee tables and end tables really come in handy. The spa day ones are actually perfect for this corner because they look like they belong there. It's gonna look intentional, and that's the whole secret with hiding the ugly parts, you know. Then you can just decorate this however you want. I'm gonna go with the columns here from Snowy Escape because that's what I used on the example. And I added support beams just because I think it fits the look really well. Of course, you can change the flooring to match here. So like I chose this one because it matched really, really well with the trim of this. Oh, and the pink tones. Honestly, I think this looks really, really cool. And this is probably going to be more functional without the stairs in it. I prefer this method. It's a little bit more complicated, but I just think it looks so much better. And then you can still have your kitchen up here. And the last thing I want to show off is, you can do some funky designs with this tool. And this is the heart-shaped conversation pit. Now you can see that it doesn't exactly line up. These ones are on a single tile diagonal, so they work. These ones, however, are not. If we try to make a diagonal here, it would cut into the couch or it'd be all the way back here. These are pretty much the smallest gaps you can get. I played around with it for like an hour. Honestly, I couldn't get it to look any better than this. I was able to fill in these 2 big gaps with the spa day. Again, there's clipping. Don't come for me. I don't care. To be honest, it just looks better as like a normal couch. Do what you like with this information. I just think the heart shape is really cool. I think it looks pretty neat if you ask me. Let's say you want to do a funky shape for a conversation pit. You can totally do that. Just use the fence tool to draw out a shape for it, and it makes it so much easier. And we'll grab a fence and we'll just trace it to the edge here. And now we have this, which will lower down 3 steps from this height. And now we'll just have to adjust the actual sectional. I know this isn't perfectly centered and that's going to bug some people. Sorry, I don't feel like fixing it. Again, we're just going to grab this beautiful platform trim right here. About the stone wall, it's a whole feature, there's a reason to come down here. You can put the cats and dogs fireplace or even a CC one down here, grab a TV and just raise it up like this. And there you go. Now you have a beautiful TV space. Or if you don't want to do the fireplace, you can skip that altogether and just use a really cool TV cabinet. It just makes sense. And the walls are really, really tall in this one, and they're probably going to be taller if you have it sunken. You can do shorter wall heights, but there's really a lot you can do. Here I just grabbed a few paintings that I think fit the vibe, and we should probably center this. It's really as easy as that. There's a lot you can do. Much as long as you follow the 1 tile corner rule, or even not, and you're able to fill in the gaps. You can make just about anything. The last thing I'll show you is how I've been using conversation pits in my own builds. This is my most recent one. It's in this huge living room space that with a normal couch might look a little bit empty, and obviously the build isn't fully done yet, but the pit really just filled in the space super easily. Especially with like the huge windows and the fireplace, it makes a lot more sense here. That'll be it for today. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something, and thank you for watching.